Hello, Reformed Mythologist Nate Morgan Locke here, or rather, not here, because here, where I normally am, it's Eleanor of Lothlorien. Hello.
Hello.
You're sitting in my chair.
It feels very strange to be sitting in this chair.
It suits you. You look fabulous.
I don't know, I feel a little bit small for it.
I'm sure your insights and opinions will be weighty and significant enough to justify that chair.
Yeah.
But yes, I am currently away from Reformed Mythologist Towers and off in Narnia in the north. So that's where I currently am. So that's why I'm coming in with less than ideal technology and lighting, but plenty of books around me to read as the snow and the ice starts to melt as Aslan's on the move.
It's been a while since we've done one of these.
Yes, it has been a while. Such a long time that the last time we had a Behold the Comments conversation, we were talking about KPop Demon Hunters. Remember that?
So last year now.
Back in history, yeah, back in 2025 when we were all so young. But we've moved on from that, and now we're going to talk about what we've been watching most recently in a segment known to most of our viewers as What You Been Watching.
We should have a jingle for that.
We should. All right, Eleanor, you get to go first. What you been watching?
I have watched Wake Up Dead Man, A Knives Out Mystery, and I have desperately wanted to find out whether you have watched it.
Very sadly, because I know a lot of people are talking about this, I have not watched it. Media consumption is optional, but the first Knives Out film I thought was really good. The second one I thought was... I was a bit frustrated by it. Glass Onion, that annoyed me quite a bit. But Rian Johnson is clearly quite an important storyteller. So, it was something I was quite keen to see. What's the name of the detective played by Daniel Craig?
Benoit Blanc.
Benoit Blanc. So, Eleanor, what is Wake Up Dead Man, Knives Out Mystery? What's it all about and what's the hype?
I think it's a really interesting film in terms of how faith and how Christianity is portrayed. I feel like when I watch films that are made by non-Christians about Christianity, the way they talk about faith is always slightly wrong. And I'm not saying that this one did it perfectly. It felt like a very genuine depiction of faith.
Okay.
For me, it marks a turn in the films that I've been watching.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's the first thing where I've gone, this feels like evidence of the sort of change in attitude towards Christianity.
Okay, so in terms of quiet revival or the vibe shift or Christianity's cool again or that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you think it gets right that other films haven't got right?
So Father Judd, who is the main character, he is a priest in a Catholic church. And it felt like there was a genuine love for the congregants and the people around him without a compromise on his faith and really believing in God and having a calling. And I feel like sometimes you either get priests that are very angry and hateful but stick by the word of God.
Right.
Or you get priests who are very loving but just don't really seem to have any basis in the scriptures. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, that sounds good. It reminds me sort of Easter Bloom. You remember the Hallmark movie we watched last Easter, where you've got someone who's trying to be really sincere and this kind of Christian pastor who's kind of trying to teach. I mean, let's be honest, a Hallmark Easter movie isn't probably to be considered on the same level as a Rian Johnson or Ryan Johnson. I don't know how you're supposed to say his name, but it's not spelled like the normal Ryan. So if you want us to say Ryan, don't write it with an I instead of a Y. That's what I'll say. So that was a guy who was very lovely and nice, but had absolutely nothing biblical to say. But what is it that this guy got to say in Father John or whatever his name is? What does he have to say that is genuinely you thought was biblical?
Well, I'm glad you asked because I want to play you a clip that I think is very Reformed Mythologist relevant.
Okay.
I think you'll find it really interesting.
How does all this make you feel?
Truthfully,
Sure.
I feel the grandeur, the mystery. And it's like someone has shouted a story at me that I do not believe.
You're being honest. It's good.
Telling the truth can be a bitter herb.
You're right. It's storytelling. And this church, it's not medieval. We're in New York. It's neo-Gothic 19th century. Has more in common with Disneyland than Notre Dame, and the rites and rituals and costumes, all of it. It's storytelling. You're right. Guess the question is, do these stories convince us of a lie? Or do they resonate with something deep inside us that's profoundly true? That we can't express any other way except storytelling.
Touche.
So, what did you think of that?
Oh, it's weird because I don't know if you noticed, but the lighting changed quite dramatically during that conversation. Almost felt like it changed like it would in like a proper Christian evangelical movie where there's an angry atheist. When they speak, everything goes dark. And then the guy who's listening brings the sunshine back. It's interesting. I think the two Knives Out films I've seen, and that one to some degree, there's a tongue-in-cheek nature to them. I mean, the fact that we know Daniel Craig, and Daniel Craig is doing this ridiculous accent, and so the whole thing feels quite self-aware, right? It's and that's one of the things about Rian Johnson is that his characters are very conscious of the mindset of the audience. And Rian Johnson's kind of, I think, playing with that and saying to you, this is artificial. This is kind of pretending. So that's why it's slightly strange to have what appears to be, at one level, a sincere conversation and one in which arguably, you know, Rian Johnson is putting forward a compelling vision for, hey, it's the myth that happens to work. It's all pretense and it's got more in common with Disneyland than Notre Dame, or Notre Dame, I should say. I just sort of combine the American and the English way of pronouncing it, or the French. Notre Dame or Notre Dame, sorry. So, yeah, that fact that he's saying this is all costume and it's all just we're putting on a play, I suppose arguably Rian Johnson is saying that's what I'm doing when I'm making a film. That the whole thing is artificial. The whole thing is a suspension of disbelief. I mean, could you say he's metamodern? You know, is this true metamodernism in the films of Rian Johnson? It's not postmodern and, hey, this is all just silly and daft and stupid and let's make fun of it. It's, this is all silly and daft and stupid, let's make fun of it. But at the same time, let's also try to have meaning, even though we know that meaning is nonsense. Potentially, Eleanor of Lothlorien, you just showed me the most metamodern piece of cinema of all time. The archetypal metamodern film scene. I don't really know what's going on. It was slightly context free, and I'm slightly, you know, that's cool. I'm happy to kind of come into it blind. The priest,
Father Judd.
he managed to extract Benoit Blanc's worldview, shall we say, rather too easily from my point of view. But again, maybe that's part of Rian Johnson saying, you know, by the way, this is a scene in which we're going to extract Benoit Blanc's worldview. And I know that I'm doing that, and it is unbelievable dialogue, but that's what you signed up for because this is a Knives Out story.
It's actually a scene that's quite a way into the film, and it's Daniel Craig's first appearance in the film.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I did find myself just before that scene came along complaining to my parents and going, "Where's Daniel Craig? I'm bored."
Yeah.
It's a great film. They brought him in maybe just like a couple of minutes too late. I think I'd have been fine if that scene had come a couple of minutes earlier.
And does it have one of those, like the crazy, crazy twists Did it keep you guessing all the way through?
So I guessed quite early on, and then my family all turned around to me and said that I was being stupid, basically, and said I was clearly wrong. And then it turned out I was right. But I had believed my family, so I'd started making other guesses.
Oh, dear. You lost the nerve. You didn't stay true.
Yeah.
You know?
Should have stayed true. I mean, I didn't guess the, full plot. I just guessed who it was.
Yeah. But no, that sounds very cool. I might watch it. I'll certainly watch that scene again, because that was just had some quite cool lines in it, didn't it?
It does have some cool lines.
It's all storytelling. It's interesting as well, because he's Catholic, right?
Yes, it's a Catholic church, yeah.
I don't really know enough. I've not spent enough time in a Catholic church seeing what Catholic church practice actually looks like to know whether this is ludicrous.
Something that's interesting about it, you know, how it has the whole line about, oh, this is New York, this is all fake. Mm-hmm. It's actually a church in the UK that they filmed at.
Oh, right.
And the director, someone told me that there was an interview with him where he was saying that he had to make a choice between being authentic in what a church in New York would actually look like, or in getting the sort of aesthetics of this old church. And he went for the aesthetics over the authentic.
Yeah, I suppose that is one of the big issues around the renewed interest in Christian things, is how much of the aesthetic is what is drawing people in. So the beauty of, historic church buildings and the beauty of, choral evensong or whatever else it is. Yeah, those things really do matter. And yeah, if you were to go to a, classic evangelical church, it probably wouldn't have the same kind of breathtaking moment when you step through the doors. So you have got to be part of a more historic church, or have an evangelical church that just so happens to have, an ancient church building. And it's great for the film, the shots, the way that they're framed. You've got those kind of three arches, and then seeing the sunlight come through the stained glass windows. But yeah, that is an interesting little watch.
I'm tempted to rewatch it, to be honest.
Okay.
Because when I watched it with my family, it was evening and we were just kind of throwing something on, and I didn't really have my critical thinking brain turned on. It's time for me to ask you the question, Nate. What you been watching?
Well, I'm going to mention three things. The first thing is something I've been watching on Netflix for hours. So basically, I wanted to catch up with Stranger Things before watching season 5 and the finale and all that kind of stuff. And so with my son, we started watching through from season 1. I can't remember when we started it, but it was sort of maybe middle of November, start of November or something. And we just got to the end of season 4. So we're basically ready for the episodes that were released at the end of last year. But I just don't have the time. I can't find the time to watch 24 hours of television. It's ridiculous.
Is the last season that long?
I don't know if it's 24 hours. Certainly the last couple of episodes are feature-length films.
Oh, okay.
And that's the case for season 4 as well. Sheer time that you just have to spend, kind of consuming it. Now, it has been fun. It feels to me a lot like, and as I say, I think I can say this without having seen season 5, but it feels to me as though it's slightly crushed by the burden of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So the Infinity Saga has provided this kind of blueprint for you need this massively overblown cultural moment. And I do think it has been a significant cultural moment. I don't think anything else has had the amount of interest over that period of time as Stranger Things. I could be proven probably quite easily on that, but the key point is it managed to do it as a proper kind of franchise, clear characters and merchandising and the story in the making of, and we've got to know those kids as they've grown up and all that kind of stuff. But the thing I was really picking out of it was, what is the representation of the church within Stranger Things?
Okay.
Now, I don't imagine there's going to be a massive change in season 5. But what really struck me is that through the first few seasons, 1, 2, 3 maybe, there are occasional references to Christianity, like very, very subtle ones in terms of they have a fake funeral for Will Byers in season 1, or maybe it's season 2. And that's done, in a kind of, it's a Christian funeral. Now, of course, it's set in Indiana in the 1980s, so you would expect a lot of the people to be churchgoers, at least, if not Bible-believing Christians. Mm-hmm. So the fact that it's kind of there in the background is natural, but you would think the church would play a bit more of an active role. But then, interestingly, in season 4, they really do tie it into the satanic panic. So the town gets very up in arms about the Hellfire Club, which is their D&D group in the high school. And they all want to go and take down this Eddie Munson, who's like the leader of it, because they suspect that he's been doing the bad upside downy things. Have you watched it, by the way? I don't know anything about you.
I got halfway through season 3 and gave up.
Well, yeah, I probably should have just ducked out when you did. But the point is that in season 4, there is an episode in which there's like this town meeting where the police are going to announce like there's all these missing kids, and so they've got to kind of do something about it. And then the basketball captain called Jason, he basically comes up to the front of this town hall meeting and turns into a kind of preacher. Mm-hmm. And says, we've got to shut this down because there's great evil in our town, and that's what this Dungeons and Dragons group is doing. And I think the scriptures tell us in Romans chapter 12, verse 21, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. And so that is a kind of explicit Bible verse that's referenced. And then later on in the season, they drive past a church, I think, and Romans 12:21 is actually it's been sprayed on a bed sheet or something. So that was really interesting for me. It's like, maybe we could do a video after I've watched the whole thing on, I think that Bible verse is actually really significant for Stranger Things.
Okay.
I don't know what the Duffer Brothers' relationship with faith is, but I mean, it doesn't seem to be very, they don't seem that interested in it. Mm-hmm. But the key point is that Bible verse, Romans 12:21, I think is very important for trying to understand the whole kind of Stranger Things mythos, even though, as I say, in the last couple of seasons, it's just felt like it's massively overblown. It's having to do the streaming platform thing. It's doing the MCU thing. And so you've just got to keep people watching. Like it's the attention economy right there.
Yeah. Rather
than, okay, what is this story about? What is Stranger Things about? What is the show that we've got? And how are we doing a brilliant job of making that show?
Yeah, it's just too many episodes for me.
Yeah. All right, throw one back at you. What else you been watching, Eleanor?
Not what I've been watching, but I have been reading Frankenstein, which is a wonderful book. I've never read it before.
Really?
I've always meant to get round to reading it.
Okay.
And I'm really enjoying it. I feel like I'm doing the same thing that you did with Jane Eyre, where you were like stopping every few moments to admire a sentence. And I've got a pencil where I'm just underlining lots in it because everything is so good. I've never been so horrified and yet so in awe of language at the same time.
Oh, wow. I've been rereading it as well. James, my son, is doing it as part of his curriculum, so he's got to read it this term. So we've started a week ago or something. So I'm still in the letters of Robert Walton. Is that his name? The seafarer.
Yeah.
I do like a little epistolary form.
Mm.
Yeah, it's really fun. Where have you got to?
Victor has returned to Geneva.
Okay.
With the death of his brother. Spoilers.
It's only been out for 200 years.
Yeah, I think we're allowed to spoil it at this point.
And do you know the subtitle of Frankenstein?
I don't know the subtitle of Frankenstein.
Is Modern Prometheus.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
Which is an interesting segue to, I wasn't going to mention this, but something else I've watched recently. Oppenheimer.
Ah.
Rewatched that.
Still haven't seen it.
There's an Oppenheimer biography, which is called The American Prometheus.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a whole kind of Promethean thing. In fact, we did that session, didn't we? The intensive.
Yes.
Oh, we could put some of that out.
Yeah.
I have no idea. It might be awful. In which case, we won't.
I have noticed in the book that there are several references to the Rime of the Ancient Mariner.
Yes, there are. And that was what made my heart sing because, James had just got to the first reference to it and was like, Dad, it's got Rime of the Ancient Mariner. I was like, I know! It's amazing! So, references within references, intertextual links. Very good. 2 more things that I have been watching, the first of which is Kingdom of Heaven from, I think, 2005, directed by Ridley Scott, starring, sadly, Orlando Bloom.
Why is that sad?
I'll go into that a little bit more later, but we watched the director's cut, which is longer than the theatrical release. And Ridley Scott has basically said, I'm not interested in watching the theatrical release. Don't watch that film. That one's awful. But then the director's cut is really hard to get hold of. But we did watch that one because I thought, essentially, I wanted to watch a film about the Crusades because I'm interested in the fact that the Crusades have a kind of aesthetic that keeps coming back around. Or maybe it's been around and then I've just noticed it a little bit more. So lots of the stuff around Christian nationalism kind of seems to use the Crusades as a kind of reference point. But also a load of the games like Warhammer, 40K, to some degree Helldivers. I've not played either of those games, but it seems to me that they're borrowing quite a lot of the heraldic mode from the Crusades. So I thought, I want to watch a good, solid epic about the Crusades. And then I saw that Ridley Scott had done Kingdom of Heaven. And the only thing I knew about the film going into it was that there's a meme of Baldwin, King of Jerusalem, and he wears this iron mask. And there's a meme of him like looking down. And someone sent it to me the other day as a reaction to some text I'd sent. And he's basically got his head down. He's just got his hand up. But that was kind of the only thing I knew about it. So I thought, oh, that's quite a cool aesthetic and I'm interested to watch it. So then we started watching it and oh my goodness, what a waste. Such a waste. You've got the actors in it. It's like Liam Neeson, Jeremy Irons. I think that one of the voice actors is Edward Norton. Brendan Gleeson's in it, I think. There's all these brilliant actors, but then the majority of the story is being told about Orlando Bloom, who, yes, I know in 2005 he was like, Hollywood's hottest thing, but oh my goodness, I did not care. I was not interested in it because I wanted it to be so much better than it was. I was really disappointed. So there we go. Kingdom of Heaven, would not recommend. Tell me in the comments if there is a better Crusade film. So that was the first thing. And the second thing that I have been watching was 101 Dalmatians by Walt Disney. That was released, I think, like 1960, something like that. Basically classic Disney.
1961.
61. I loved it. It did exactly what I wanted it to do. Because the reason I wanted to watch it was because I'd been getting really interested in the aesthetic of the movie. Like the background sets are really beautifully drawn and it portrays, I think, a version of London which is really exciting to me. What is the vision you're trying to give people of a kind of beautiful city in which people just walk their dogs? So I think there's lots about that which is really, really cool. And yeah, it was delightful. Big recommend for that. I mean, everyone's seen 101 Dalmatians. Or have they, Eleanor?
I have.
Yes,
I think I've seen pretty much every Disney animated movie.
Okay.
Shall we have a look at some comments?
Let's do it.
So from our last episode of Behold the Comments, KPop Demon Hunters is missing something. There was some really good chat in the comments. We don't really have time to cover it, but it was really great to see some subscribers, some viewers of the channel just chatting with each other about K-pop Demon Hunters and having their own conversation without us involved. I love seeing that. We had a comment from the Musician saying, hey, so I'm already reformed. How do I become a mythologist? And I really liked your reply saying, easy, find a story and then overthink it. Follow along for more pointers.
There you go, kids. Yeah, just the studying the stories. That's what mythology means.
Hell Yes said, I keep on missing your videos for some reason. They seem to be missing from my subs feed. What a shame. Keep looking us up. Keep making sure you catch them.
Have we been shadow banned? I think we've been shadow banned. That's what.
We might have. I received a lovely poster in the mail today, so I thought I'd check in on the channel and see what was occurring. Looking forward to seeing your new setup. And I wanted to mention this comment just because we did send out some Heroes Creed posters last year, and we have had some lovely photos of people sharing their Heroes Creed poster up. So I thought we'd put those on screen and say, if you have a poster up, send us a photo. If you don't have a poster up, go to heroescreed.com, sign up, and you'll get sent a free digital copy that you can print and put up in your own home.
That is what we need. People to have the Heroes Creed poster up so they can explain the gospel using the hero's journey and the Apostles' Creed.
Keep an eye out on the channel, on the Reformed Mythologist Instagram for more Heroes Creed content as well.
But also you could join the mailing list, because that's where you can get a little story-shaped thought each month. And also, we're trying to kind of get people's interest about the Heroes Creed project, what that will become. So you can even help shape that.
Shall we move on to the surprising rebirth of films about God video and the comments under that?
Let's do it.
We were just talking about two pieces of filmmaking in What You've Been Watching where faith had been presented in various ways. And from that video, there are a few people who thought you had missed some new and great pieces of Christian filmmaking.
Okay.
So Micah and Eleanor Deegan said, Don't Forget the Promised Land, a mockumentary remake of Israel's years in the wilderness. No, really. Christian Bensel said, You left out The Miracle Maker, 1999 film, my favourite Jesus film. But I understand that Jesus film lists are optional and you are under no obligation to list or like them all. And then Ashley Huey, 3921, so good as always, thank you Nate, but I won't stand for the egregious omission of the Prince of Egypt in past biblical movies with great impact.
Yeah.
And I happen to agree with her, that is a great film.
Yeah. Deliver us. Yeah, no, it's great. It is good. And good solid animation as well. A nice like art style. Felt like a good piece of work. So yes.
We had a couple of people who enjoyed the new studio.
Yeah.
Welcome to the new studio. This is the first Behold the Comments we have filmed in the new studio. Well, I have filmed in the new studio. I guess you haven't yet, Nate. Dan, Master of None, said, Thanks for this. I think many people forget consumption is optional on many things. I guess people might argue it's getting people interested in the story and then might read the book. But I'm with you. You just read the book. P.S. Love the new studio.
Oh. Do you know what particular book we were talking about then?
The Bible.
The Bible, of course. Yeah, no, it's a great read. Okay, so the last video we want to look at the comments underneath is the Home Alone 2 video, which most of the comments, let's be honest, were about people saying, hold on, where's the Home Alone 1 video?
There's an order to things, Nate. You got to start with 1.
No, I get that, but everyone's already seen a video about how Home Alone 1 is a Christian film. It didn't feel like you were adding anything to the internet.
Well, William Finch, Nick Wiggum, and the Alpacalypsals Upon Us all seem to think that you need to talk about number 1.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's deeply Christian as well. The iconography's all there. I kind of said a little bit of that in the Home Alone 2 video. I just think that the turtle dove thing has got so much depth to it compared to what is it there in the first movie. I mean, I know people do the whole thing about like the scars in the hands of Old Man Marley and that's, a kind of, the wounds of Christ kind of being depicted. But yeah, I just think that turtle dove thing was very fun and cool.
Having done that video, I did then go home and watch both Home Alone movies. I'd seen 1 once before and I'd never seen 2. So it was fun to watch them. It was nice to have a good Christmassy watch over Christmas. I did feel a little bit with 2 that they had sort of gained an audience of little boys who maybe enjoyed the torture of the two robbers a bit too much. And I was a little bit sort of cringing and squeamish of some of the stuff that went on in that one.
Well, I think because it's basically just like the old cartoons. So it's using Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote and just this kind of eternal fight between, Tom and Jerry. And I suppose the thing that makes it feel worse is the fact that these are, this is live action. So it feels more painful. I think the ones that get me most are probably in the first one, when, I can't remember which one's Harry and which one's Marv now. Anyway, the tall one, he had to take his shoes off.
Yeah.
And then, it's the fact that you're then like, so that's the painful stuff. In fact, that was the thing in the entirety of Stranger Things that made me wince the most. Sorry to jump back to that, but there's a bit in season 4 when there's a guy in a Russian prison and he's got these kind of chains around his legs and it's freezing cold and he's got no shoes on. And then in order to try and get his ankle out of this chain, he basically breaks his own ankle. And it was just all the bits and there are things turning into like little demon slugs, like fleshy, gross, non-faced demogorgons or whatever it is. But the most troubling part of the entire Stranger Things thing up to season 4 is that moment when his feet are already cold. They're already cold. And then So yeah, painful.
Matthew Fernley said, there's something delightfully analog in videoing a printout of a photo of a laptop screen.
Yeah. No expenses were spared on that. Yeah. I just kind of I like the overhead camera, and I think having the pictures you can draw on them, so that's seems to be a fun, new aesthetic for us.
I did think it looked good. It was a fun thing to try out, although I did cringe a little bit at the photos of the laptop screen.
Friend of the channel, Sky Richegg, pointed out that the statue that I was referring to in the film was the really cool little shot of the guy on the horse. Apparently, it's Jose de San Martin. Jose de San Martin? Jose de San Martin? I don't know. But is apparently a revolutionary general that helped liberate several South American states from the Spanish Empire. And I was amazed that he knew that, and then he said he just Googled it.
I feel like that's calling you out a bit, Nate. I feel like that's Sky Richegg saying, hey, you could have just Googled it too.
I know. But what if I don't want to? What if Googling is optional too? What if all of this digital stuff isn't strictly necessary and we can, you don't have to have an Alexa or a Siri or a ChatGPT.
Should we start doing all our videos on analog film?
That's right. Analog film. In fact, we'll just do it live. We'll just go and we'll talk about the books that we've written ourselves and embroidery that we've done. We'll go to some arts and crafts or folk festival. That's where we'll be. But I'll still be taking photographs of my laptop screen and printing them out. Please do remember that media consumption is optional. You are under no obligation to watch the Knives Out film, Stranger Things, read Frankenstein, or any of the other things we've mentioned in this episode. I'm Reformed Mythologist Nate Morgan-Locke. She's Eleanor of Lothlorien, sitting in my chair. We're glad you were here.